Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for the Johns Hopkins School of Education Applied Behavior Analysis virtual webinar. My name is Sion John. I'm the Assistant Director of Admissions at the Johns Hopkins School of Education. I also have my colleague from the Office of Admissions, and she will introduce herself.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tanya McMillan. I am an admissions coordinator here at the School of Education. Thank you for joining us today. Welcome.
We also have Professor and Faculty Lead for the Special Education Program, Dr. Tamara Martyr, joining us today. And before we get started, I would like to cover a few housekeeping topics. First, today's webinar is being recorded. We will be able to share a link with you after the event is complete. Please take a second to see if your mic is on mute and video is off. Please have your mic on mute and video off at all times during the presentation. There will be a Q&A session at the end of the presentation. I would like to share the agenda for today's virtual webinar. We will start the presentation sharing an overview of the Johns Hopkins School of Education. Then Dr. Martyr will go over details of the ABA programs. We also have two alumni of the ABA program, and they will share their experience in the ABA program. We'll wrap it up with admissions requirements and leave the floor open for questions at the end. And to start, we are one of 9 schools at Johns Hopkins University. We began offering college courses for teachers in 1909, and then we became our own school in 2007. We are proud to share that the Johns Hopkins School of Education is consistently ranked one of the top schools in education by the U.S. News and World Report. For school enrollment, we have approximately 2,364 students, and we offer 27 graduate programs, which includes doctoral, master's, and graduate certificate programs. We also have a strong network of over 23,000 SOE alums. Here on the slide, you will see the faculty for the Special Education Department: Dr. Rebecca Cruz, Dr. Tamara Martyr, Dr. Alexandra Shelton. Presenting today, we have Dr. Tamara Martyr. Dr. Martyr is the faculty lead for the Special Education Program at SOE. She has worked in the field of applied behavior analysis since 1994. Her research interests includes improving learning outcomes for students with developmental disabilities and autism through effective training and preparation of educators and professionals who provide educational services. And this includes training educators on implementing evidence-based practices with fidelity and preparing special educators in the field of applied behavior analysis. And at this time, I will hand the floor over to Dr. Martyr.
Thank you, Sion. Welcome, everybody. So excited to have you here today to hear about our ABA programs and to get a chance to speak with 2 of our alumni. I do want to start off by talking about what is ABA. So the majority of you are here because you are interested in our ABA programs, but I want to just take a few minutes to talk about what ABA is and thinking about a profession in ABA as a BCBA, as all of you are applying to the program. So can we move on to the next slide, please? Thank you. Okay, great. So when we think about applied behavior analysis, we're really thinking about the scientific study of the principles of learning and behavior. So really understanding why we as humans do what we do and how we can apply that to educational settings. So within ABA, we apply these principles of learning to improve socially significant behavior for all individuals. The Board Certified Behavior Analyst, BCBA credential, is a graduate level certification in behavior analysis. And our programs provide graduates the opportunity to become a BCBA. Behavior analysts work in a variety of educational settings and with a variety of roles. So we have different educational settings from your traditional K through 12 public school, private schools or non-publics. We have center-based programs. We see behavior analysts working in home-based programs, as well as school consultation agencies. We also see BCBAs working in a variety of different educational roles, from teacher to behavior specialist, school psychologist, speech and language pathologists, programmers, home programmers, program coordinators, and so forth. So we see a lot of different roles within education that BCBAs can fill. And the services that behavior analysts are providing include conducting behavioral assessments, analyzing data, making database decisions to inform programming, making sure that others can implement the programs that we write, writing those behavior analytic intervention plans from behavior reduction plans to instructional programs. So looking at not only when we think about behavior, we're not just talking about interfering behavior in educational settings, but we're also talking about behaviors or skills that we want to teach our students. Behavior analysts are also responsible for overseeing the implementation of those plans and also are supervising others and consulting with others. And then for BCBAs, we follow what is outlined by the Behavior Analyst Certification Board, which is the 5th edition task list. So these are all the different roles that a behavior analyst can have specifically within an educational setting. Our next slide talks about the demand for BCBA. So what is the demand out there? So as you all are thinking about applying to a graduate program in behavior analysis, what does the demand look like once you graduate? So we are seeing in 2022, the Behavior Analyst Certification Board put out a report on the employment demand for BCBAs within the US. So we see that this is increasing. That is not a typo. That is 5,852% increase from 2010 to 2021. When we look at just that past year of 2020 to 2021, there was a 38% increase over all of job postings. And then we can see the states where the demand was the highest for BCBAs, and then for more local areas from Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maryland, and Virginia, we see that all of those areas are also increasing. So pursuing graduate work in applied behavior analysis will ensure that you will be able to find a job because there are a high demand for BCBAs today. Okay, so now let's talk about ABA and our programs at the School of Education. So if you look at your right-hand part of your screen, you see a diagram. And these are all the steps needed to become a board certified behavior analyst. So the first thing you need to do is have a master's degree. The second thing you need to do is be able to complete ABA coursework that aligns with the coursework standards as outlined by the BACB. The third thing is to complete all those fieldwork hours, those fieldwork experience, and I'll talk about that in detail. And then the final thing is to pass that exam. Then you can become a BCBA. So these are the 4 steps. At Johns Hopkins, we have 2 pathways for you to be able to become board certified. The first one is our master's degree in special education and ABA. This is our newest program, which is combining the ABA coursework that we have with special education courses. So you'll see here, you have 7 ABA courses, which is 21 credits, and then an additional 5 special ed courses, which is 15 credits. Students can elect to do the practicum with us as well, which I'll talk about in detail in a few more slides, which is up to an additional 12 credits. This master's in special ed with a focus on ABA can be completed with 3 years, and the 4th year is optional if you're completing the practicum electives. The other pathway that we have at Johns Hopkins School of Ed is our postmaster's certificate. We have been offering this program since 2013. In this program, this is really designed for somebody who's coming in with their master's degree already. You already have that first step of the diagram. You have your master's degree completed. You just need that ABA coursework and the fieldwork experience hours. So the postmaster certificate just includes those 7 ABA courses, which is 21 credits. And then students again have the option to enroll in the 4 practicum courses up to 12 credits to earn those fieldwork experiences. This program is completed in 2 years with an optional 3rd year to complete the practicum electives. It's very important to point out that all of our courses at Johns Hopkins School of Ed in our ABA program are verified by the Association for Behavior Analysis International. And what that means is ABAI reviews all of our syllabi to ensure that all of our coursework aligns with the requirements outlined by the Behavior Analyst Certification Board. So making sure that we have all the 315 hours required, and then they give us that stamp of approval, which is that verification of our course sequence. So let's talk a little bit about the program format. All of our courses are offered in the evening. The goal is to meet the working professional, what their needs are. So the majority of our students work full-time in a variety of different educational settings, and then they attend courses in the evenings. Students can complete the program by taking 2 courses each semester. So when we're talking about the 3 years for the master's and 2 years for the postmasters, that's all with the understanding of taking 2 courses each semester. In the master's program in special ed with a focus on ABA and the postmasters, all of the ABA courses are offered in the evenings. We also have a new opportunity this year that we are offering our courses in a hybrid model. So students can attend either in person at our applied physics lab in Laurel, which is centrally located in Maryland. If you are outside of Maryland, you also have the option of joining us synchronously into the classroom. So joining us through your computer on Zoom, just sort of like we are today, and joining into the Hopkins classroom at the same time class is being offered. So it's not asynchronous, it would be synchronous along with everybody else. With the master's program, we have 5 special education courses. They can be completed either online or in person. We have a variety of courses in our special ed program, mainly focused in autism, which are offered fully online, and those classes are offered asynchronously. So they're week-long modules, a total of 10 to 15 weeks per semester, where students are working at their own pace. In the master's program, we are offering courses in the fall, spring, and summer. All of our ABA courses are offered during the fall and spring. So for folks who are interested in the postmaster's certificate, again, it would be that same 7 ABA courses offered in that hybrid model to either be in person in Maryland in our classroom, or joining online into the classroom through your computer synchronously. And again, those courses are offered in fall and spring. So some of our learning outcomes for our program, what we're really focused on and what we expect our students to learn when they graduate is right here in front of you on this slide. So I'm going to review a few of them. Some of the examples include being able to apply these principles of behavior analysis, being able to define them and demonstrate them, using research to evaluate the outcomes of any intervention plan or procedures, to be able to design, implement, and evaluate programs as well as behavior reduction programs that are based on assessment, being able to practice and follow our ethics code, implement, manage, and practice applied behavior analysis in an educational setting. And the final biggest learning outcome of our program is to successfully complete the Behavior Analyst Certification Board exam by passing that exam. So those are just some of our learning objectives I wanted to share with you. And then let's get into talking about practicum. So students, again, the practicum is not required coursework to get either a postmaster's certificate or a master's degree in special education. But we do offer those practicum electives for students who need that help in setting up their fieldwork hours. So the way that we have set up our practicum, again, we've been offering our practicum since 2013. We have a very clear curriculum for our practicum electives. And the practicum courses are designed to meet the experience requirements for a concentrated experience fieldwork. So if you're familiar with the fieldwork hours that all students need to complete to become board certified, you know that you can have the option to do fieldwork hours, which is 2,000 hours, or concentrated experience fieldwork, which is 1,500 hours. What's the difference between that besides the 500 hours? The biggest difference with the 1,500 hours with being concentrated is that you are getting supervised twice as much. So it's more supervision, more opportunities for supervision with ABCBA. So we have designed our practicum to meet the concentrated experience fieldwork so that we are providing all of our students with a BCBA supervisor who meets with them each week. And then also as part of the coursework, there is a seminar or a class where you meet with a group of students. So it's group supervision and you receive 1 hour per week. So we really have set up our practicum to do about 25 hours per week of practicum experience, of fieldwork experience. Within those 25 hours, 1.5 hours are working with a supervisor, an individual supervisor, and there's 1 hour working with your group supervisor. So within a 15-week semester, students are able to accrue 25 hours with that 10% supervision, which across 4 semesters, we're able to get you that 1,500 hours. Again, students can choose to do this on their own. So if you're working, if you're employed and you have a BCBA on site who's providing supervision to you already, you may not necessarily need to do the practicum electives. But if you're employed in a site or you're working in a public school, you may not have a BCBA who's supervising you, practicum electives may be a good option for you. Within our practicum electives, we do have a practicum coordinator who's the liaison between students and their sites. The practicum coordinator ensures that all of your where you are working. So let me just take a step back there for a second. For the majority of our students, we want to make sure that they can, if they are working full-time, be able to complete their practicum hours or their fieldwork hours in their place of employment. So we have a practicum coordinator who reviews all of the employment placements where you might be working to ensure that it can meet the needs of the the activities outlined by the BACB. So that's the first step. The other piece of it is we hire and vet and make sure all of our supervisors have the appropriate credentials and training, and we match you with a supervisor based on your experiences. Let's see, let me make sure I hit everything on that slide. If you could go back 1 second, thanks. And then also if you are outside of the Maryland area and you're joining courses online, in order to complete those practicum electives, you do need to be, if you choose to do the practicum electives, you do need to be in the Maryland or DC area in order to do the practicum electives. Okay, now I'm good. Thank you. Next slide. Okay, so in front of you is a course sequence. So this just shows for you all of the different courses from the ABA courses. This is an example of combining the ABA courses and the special ed courses that are focused on autism. So you can see an ABA course or a special ed course after each one, and which ones are online versus, just a straight ABA course in person or synchronously online. You can go through, you can see that it takes about 3 years to complete this program. If you're doing the practicum electives, you will have that optional 4th year. And if we go to the next slide is the example of the course sequence for the postmaster's certificate. And you can see here that it's all of the ABA courses that we offer, with that optional 3rd year with electives. So if you're choosing not to do the electives, then we would move that last class, applications of ABA, up into the 2nd year of the fall semester, and then you would be completed after that 2nd year, excuse me. Okay, so some additional information about the program. So after completing all 12 courses for the master's, you would receive a master's degree in special ed with a focus on ABA. Completion of the 7 courses would lead to a postmaster's certificate. Students who complete the fieldwork hours, either with us or on their own, would be eligible to apply then to the BACB, combining the coursework that they completed with Johns Hopkins and all of their fieldwork hours and documentation. Students are responsible for applying to the BACB for certification. We unfortunately do not provide that certification, but we do provide you with all of the documentation needed to apply to the BACB. It is also important to point out, it is expected that all students who go through either of these programs, that they pursue certification as a BCBA. So you can't complete these programs and then call yourself a BCBA. You must actually apply to the BACB, sit for the exam, pass that exam, and then become board certified. So some advantages of the program that I wanted to share with all of you is this program, first of all, is focused on education. So we are not an ABA and autism program. We are a program that looks at how do we use ABA within an educational setting. So regardless of disability code, we really are looking at how do we apply behavior analysis within an educational setting. Another advantage of the program is that our students are passing this exam, and they're passing the exam above the national pass rate. So if you're familiar with the pass rate for the BCBA exam, the BACB puts out this pass rate every single year. So in 2020, they haven't put out the 2021 rates yet, but in 2020, the pass rate was 66%. So it's not a very high pass rate for this exam. In 2020, 100% of our students, all of our students passed the exam. So we had a 100% pass rate in 2020. And this represents all first-time test takers. If we look back on our data across all the past, since 2013, we've had 70 graduates of our program. 69 of those have become board certified. That's first and second time pass test takers. And that was a 99% pass rate. So I think that's a huge advantage of our program, that our students are successful once they complete the program, that they then pass the exam. Another advantage of our program is the practicum. I shared this with you earlier, but we really have a very focused curriculum. It is that we follow for each practicum. It follows a sequence. The other piece of the practicum is that it's very individualized based on all of the students coming into the program. So if you elect to do the practicum, you really are starting off with an assessment of your own skills as a future behavior analyst. And then our supervisors meet you where you are. So each supervision relation or supervisory relationship is very individualized to meet your needs and your goals as a professional. And then finally, another advantage is our faculty. So all of our faculty are board certified behavior analysts. All of them are practicing ABA every day, and they are coming to teach all of our students in the evenings each night. Okay, and so next, I just want to share some program milestones. So what has been the impact of our program since we began in 2013? So we've had 84 graduates of our program, and they represent a variety of educational professionals. So the majority of our folks are special educators or behavior specialists. We've had a lot of school psychologists go through our program and complete our program. We've had speech and language pathologists, administrators, as well as instructional specialists. We've had 7 cohorts complete our program. Like I said, that's all for the postmaster certificate. Our Master of Science in Special Ed with a focus on ABA is our first time we're offering it this fall. And then of those 69 of those cohorts, 69 are board certified, and 43 students of those students who reside in Maryland are licensed behavior analysts. So all of our students go on to become licensed, and as long as you have that within your state. So now what I'd like to do is I'm going to stop talking, and I'm going to hand things over to 2 of our star alumni from our ABA program. And I'm really excited to introduce you guys to both Gia Wang and Jamie Friedrich, who both of them actually graduated with their master's degree in 2018. So they did the master's degree in special education at Johns Hopkins prior to applying to the postmaster's certificate. And it's so funny, guys, I was just looking over both of your bios here, and you both graduated in 2018 with your master's degree, and you both graduated from the postmaster's certificate in 2021. So Gia is a special educator working in Howard County, and she's working with students with autism. And then Jamie, who is going to speak after Gia, is a an educator at Kennedy Krieger Schools, where she works with students with autism who are high schoolers who are transitioning to work in the community. So I will turn things over to you, Gia.
Thank you, Dr. Marder. Hello, everyone. My name is Jia Wang. I went to Hopkins as a desperate immigrant parent right after my daughter's diagnosis of autism at the age of 3. So my initial intention was to learn something so I can support my daughter in her daily life. So now looking back after the master program and the postmaster ABA program, I want to say going to Hopkins was the best decision I made in my life. I became a mommy therapist for my daughter at that time with the knowledge I learned from Hopkins. And she's now in a general education classroom with minimal support. And myself is on the journey of helping more kids and families as a special educator. At my current job, I collect data and work together with a school psych to develop and implement behavior intervention plans for our friends with IEP. And I work in the PBIS committee to help develop school-wide positive behavior intervention and supports. I also created a work choice system to work more efficiently and reduce burnout for our paraeducators. At the same time, I use self-recording and self-management skills with myself to increase my productivity. So the ABA program at Hopkins did not only equip me with the skill set in behavior analysis, but also a different way I see things and people, this world. Something that surprised me from the program was the extra attention and time I got from the faculty. So I still remember it was my second year within the program, the postmaster program. I was doing my practicum, and then due to COVID, my work visa was not renewed on time. So all of a sudden I could not work. And that means I couldn't get the practicum hours on time. So my mentor and practicum supervisor held a meeting immediately on the second day, and they worked out a plan, a very creative solution for me so that I could continue my practicum. So from my experience, I want to say Hopkins is a large university with great reputation and amazing resources. And at the same time, it is a very small program that you can receive individualized attention from the faculty because they care and they want everyone to be successful. Thank you.
Thanks, Gia. All right, well, I'll turn it over to Jamie.
Hi, I'm Jamie Friedrich. Thanks for having me. Of course, I have to follow Gia. Gia and I have worked together quite a bit, like Dr. Marder said, in both of those programs. So I just would like to say just a couple of things. One, the why behind going back to not only my master's, but also the postmasters and ABA. I think that there's something so unique about the Hopkins experience that I received during my master's program, and what Gia was saying about the individualized attention that we received. I think that for me, I noticed that because of that individualized attention, that there was something more that I could add to the faculty at and the students that I work with at my school. And so I think the next natural step was to go back to get my certification in ABA. And I had seen quite a few of my coworkers and peers thrive in this program. And so I had some good models to go off of from that. So my why was really, I felt like there was something more that I could offer, and doing that through Hopkins was exactly what I needed to do. Currently, I use my ABA certification in a variety of ways. Like Dr. Marder said, I am the essentially the community the liaison between our school and our community partners that our students who are experiencing work-based learning experiences. I get authentic job opportunities for these students while they're in our school, both in high school and transition age. And so I'm doing a great deal of the skill acquisition side of ABA both at school and in the community. And so within that, I'm supervising staff as they implement the instructional sequences offsite, as well as kind of preparing students for that in our high school and upper school setting as well. I collaborate with the behavior teams to kind of discuss what might work behaviorally offsite, and something that might work in one setting might not work necessarily in all. And so I've been able to use some of that expertise in both areas to meet our students' needs in the community. I think what Gia said it actually much better than me when she talked about the individualized attention, and how really that is something that's really unique about Hopkins, and that the faculty truly does care about what their students are putting forth, and kind of meeting them at their point of need and their strengths as well. And that's something that I think you would be hard pressed to find in many other programs due to size, or I mean, there's a lot of different factors that go into that, but I can say for sure, and from experience, the staff and the faculty at the School of Education are top notch. They are very willing to answer questions and to meet any need that you might have as you go through this process. So I would highly recommend either of these programs to any person who were to ask.
Thank you both so much. I really appreciate you being here. I want to make sure that attendees know that if you have specific questions that past students might be able to answer, Jamie and Gia will be available for our Q&A at the end. So make sure to write those questions down so you can ask both of them any questions that you might have about being a student in our ABA programs. A question that I often get from people who are applying to the program is, who is your ideal program candidate? What are the characteristics that the program is looking for? So the first thing is that you have a desire to commit to the field of applied behavior analysis. So this is not a program that is just going to get you a few more letters after your name. This is an intensive, rigorous program. You definitely have to put the time in. So you have to have that commitment to learning within the field of ABA. The other requirement is knowing those requirements. So understanding all of the requirements to become board certified. So if you have not yet checked out the BACB, please check out their website and look at all the different pathways to becoming board certified. You will see a familiarity of doing that master's degree, the ABA coursework, the fieldwork experience. There's a lot of information. We are not expecting anybody to have that information memorized, but make sure that you understand what those requirements are, especially as you are applying to graduate school, thinking about furthering your education. You want to know what the requirements are and what you're getting involved in prior to getting certified. The other piece is being able to commit to the time of graduate coursework. So 2 to 3 years of intensive graduate study, being able to spend that time with your coursework. The next one is demonstrating the admissions requirements. Sion is going to be talking to you about that in a few minutes, and then being able to work and study hard within the program. So I think the next slide is, okay, so what's next? First, make sure, so if you're ready to apply, make sure that you you understand all of those requirements. Check out that BACB website, look through it, get your application started. We are reviewing applications right now for the fall 2022 semester. So make sure you get that application started, and please reach out to me with any questions that you have. You see my email is right there. I'm always available for any questions that you might have. So as you're completing your application, or you're checking out the BACB requirements and you have questions about how Hopkins aligns with those requirements, or you have questions about Practicum, please feel free to reach out by email. I'm always available to answer those questions. So I think now I'm going to hand things over to the admissions office, who's going to talk to you about how to apply.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Marder. So now we're going to review the application requirements for the program. We do ask that you have an undergraduate and graduate GPA requirement of a 3.0 or better as a cumulative GPA. Applicants must submit a completed application, which can be found on our website, and the application fee is $80. We also require official transcripts from all post-secondary institutions attended. This includes schools where you may have taken courses but did not earn a degree. Additionally, an essay and a current resume are also needed, as well as 2 letters of recommendation and an interview with the program office. And finally, the GRE is not an admission requirement for this program. For international students, there are a few additional steps you'll need to take in order to complete the application process. You must submit a TOEFL or IELTS score that demonstrates English language proficiency. Also, if your degree was completed outside of the US, you will need to complete a course-by-course credential evaluation. Additional information pertaining to international student admission requirements can be found on our website. The current tuition for the School of Education is $918 per credit for face-to-face in-person courses and $972 plus a $20 per credit technology fee for online courses. For additional information on tuition and fees, please visit the School of Education website for more details. If you're interested in applying for federal financial aid, we strongly encourage you to apply and complete your FAFSA form, which is the free application for federal student aid when you start your application. We do offer a limited number of partial need-based scholarships for fall and spring semesters. You can also find additional information and details in the financial aid section of our website as well. Thank you for joining us today for the Applied Behavior Analysis virtual webinar. At this time, we'd like to open up the floor for questions. So please type your questions in the chat box.
All right, so Dr. Martyr, while we wait for questions, we have some frequently asked questions here in the Office of Admissions. The first one is, where are classes offered and how are the classes offered?
Okay, great question. So our courses, all of our classes are offered in the evenings at our Applied Physics Lab in Laurel, Maryland. The timing for classes is 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., typically, again, twice a week. So Monday or Wednesday is pretty much our schedule right now, but that could always change. And that's for our ABA courses. And our special ed courses are also either the face-to-face courses are offered in person at the Applied Physics Lab, and and again, the ABA courses are offered synchronously or in person. What was the other part of that question? What did I miss?
How are the classes offered?
Okay, so being either online, where the autism courses are offered fully online asynchronously, and the ABA courses are offered in person or synchronously online. Thank you, Sion.
We do have a question typed in by Lynette. Is there a partnership with Prince George's County Public Schools?
So thank you, Lynette, for asking that question. If you are interested in, we don't have a specific partnership with PG County, but we do have opportunities for tuition funding through the state of Maryland through a grant that we apply for each year. We will be applying for that grant. That funding is not yet approved, so there's not a guarantee of that funding. But if you are interested in having that opportunity, do reach out to me and I can share more information with you. And this is a tuition funding opportunity for Maryland Public Schools. So that would include obviously PG County.
Thank you, Dr. Martyr.
Oh, go ahead, Sion.
Thank you, Dr. Martyr. We have a question. I started the special education ABA program at George Mason University for only one semester. Can I transfer my credits if I get accepted?
So that is a great question. So we have a policy at Johns Hopkins that you can transfer up to 3 credits of graduate coursework from another university. The one thing that we need to do if we're doing that is really look at the courses that you've taken already, how they align within our coursework and the sequence. And so that would be a discussion once you get accepted into the program. And you meet with your advisor to look at, where that course aligns and where it could be transferred in. So there's definitely a possibility to do that. But the policy at Hopkins is up to 3 credits that can be transferred in.
Thank you, Dr. Martyr. The next question we have is, does the MS Special Education Severe Disabilities Applied Behavior Analysis Program lead to initial state teacher certification?
No. So if you are looking for teacher certification, the master's in special ed with a focus on ABA will not lead to certification as a teacher. So that would not be a good fit for you. But if you are interested in getting certified as a teacher in Maryland, then you should be checking out our General Master's in Special Ed program.
Okay, next question we have from Prue. Also, what about DC? And what if you already have a master's? Are the requirements different if you just want the certificate?
So Prue, the question you're asking, so if you have a master's degree already, then I would recommend checking out the postmaster's certificate in ABA. With regards to requirements, are you asking about the admission requirements for that? I just need some clarification. If you want to just unmute yourself, it might be easier.
Okay, thank you. Yes, that is the question. Is there admission requirements different? Because I have a master's in from GW in behavior studies and special education. So I was looking at the graduate certificate. I just needed to know the requirements for that.
Yeah, so with the postmasters, the requirements are the same for admission. So you do have to still submit both transcripts from undergrad and graduate school. You would still need to do 2 recommendation letters. You would still need to do a professional statement. So there's really no difference in those admission requirements. And then you asked about DC. Can you explain what you're asking there?
Partnerships with DC. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So funding wise, this funding is through the Maryland State Department of Education. So we do not, as of right now, have any grant funding through DC public schools.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Prue.
Next question that we have from Jennifer. Is it difficult to get accepted if you do not have a GPA of 3.0? I'm worried I won't get accepted, and what is the deadline to submit everything for the fall?
Okay, so the deadline to submit everything for the fall, right now we do a rolling admissions. I'm really encouraging everybody to get their applications in by at least June 15th. We will still be looking at applications after that time, but it's getting really busy with applications coming in. So I would really push you to get it done by June 15th. Again, if it comes in after the 15th, we'll still look at it. But regarding the 3.0, so the GPA, that piece is important, right? But we're looking at both undergrad and graduate school. If you already have done your master's, let's say you're doing the postmasters, but we're also balancing a few different things. So that's your recommendation letter, that's other coursework that you've taken, that's your personal statement. So we look at all of that together.
Thank you, Dr. Martyr. The next question we have is, will I be board certified behavior analysis when I complete the master's option of the ABA program?
So great question. The master's in special ed with focus on ABA will provide you with all of the coursework that is required of a BCBA. So you would need to apply to the BACB for that certification. So you cannot call yourself a BCBA after you finish the master's degree or the postmaster's. You would need to apply, sit and pass the exam. And then you can be called a behavior analyst or call yourself a BCBA. The other thing I think I see another question from Rachel, and we'll answer that question in 2 seconds. The other thing is I want to ask Jamie and Gia, if you guys can just share a question that we get oftentimes is, what does your typical week look like for studying? Like, when do you do most of your studying? And how many hours a week are you working on classwork? So I'll let you guys calculate that while I answer the next question, but if we can turn that over to you in a few seconds. Rachel, you're asking about a spring session. All of our courses do start in the fall semester. So the ABA program, both the master's and the postmasters both start in the fall semester. We don't have a spring option. Okay, Gia, Jamie, do you guys want to share your what your week was like for studying?
Sure, I can go first.
Jamie, you go first.
Thanks, Gia. So I'm a pretty rigid and scheduled person. And so having gone through the program during COVID and things looking a little bit different, I essentially required myself to be on a very strict every day from, I think it was, I don't know, this feels like a lifetime ago, but like 2 to 5, like essentially the equivalent of a little bit longer than what I would have been in supervision with my supervisor anyway. I kind of chalked that up to, this is the time that I'm going to either study or read articles or what have you. So every week I was, I think, doing, outside of my supervision, like a 13 to 15 hour, not including any homework or any assignments that I was doing. And then the weekend, if I was not able to do that, I would catch up on some of that. So that just kind of provided me some structure and that was just me personally. So Gia might have done something different because she might not have required all of that. But yeah, I think that it's important to note that you really get out of the studying what you put into it.
So for me, I am, so my first language is not English. So I am a slow reader and a writer. So my schedule was like from 9:30 to 11:30 every day. I would do some reading and writing, and I have 2 young kids. So I had a baby in the middle of this program. So it's like 10 hours during weekdays. And then on the weekend, I need another half day at least to finish the assignments. And also it depends on the courses. I still remember the most challenging course we had. Jamie, I don't know whether you agree. I was that research method one, remember? Yeah, for that one, I definitely spend a little bit more time, but on average, I want to say like 10 to 15 hours per week, including the assignments, reading, and everything.
Can I add something to that? I think what's really unique also about this program is that what Gia was talking about with the really challenging course in particular, I remember distinctly talking with Dr. Martyr about some of the content that was being covered in that class. And so the fact that you are able to converse with not only those that you're in class with, but also the entire faculty to get assistance and support and describe, things being explained a different way to kind of support your learning was really valuable to me as well, just to add on to what Gia just said.
Thank you both. That was great. Thanks for sharing that, and sharing the different learning styles. I think is really important for people who are thinking about applying and what that might look like for them. Additional questions that folks have?
Yes, Dr. Martyr, it looks like we have another question from Rachel, which is there a session that starts in the spring semester if you need a little bit more time?
Yeah, I think we had just answered that. The program only starts in the fall semester, so there's no options for the spring semester. Thank you, Gia, for joining us. I really appreciate it.
All right, so it looks like there are no more questions. Thank you again for your interest in the Johns Hopkins School of Education. And then I'm going to share some important contact information here on this slide. If you have any admissions related questions, feel free to reach out to Ms. Tanya McMillan. Any program related questions, I know Dr. Martyr shared her contact information, but also the program coordinator, Ms. Camila Mika Sims. She is also available as well, and her email address is on this slide. We look forward to hearing from you. Have a wonderful evening, everyone. And thank you, Dr. Martyr, for the wonderful presentation. Thank you so much, Jamie and Gia, for joining us today.